Hello everyone, good evening. How are you? This is Judy Ann Chang. As promised, we're coming to you live to talk about confidence today. And basically, is the lack of confidence holding you back? So for everyone who wanted to talk about that and want to have a good discussion about that, please feel free to go ahead and jump right in. Let me know that you're here and also say hello while you're at it. And of course, as always, sharing is caring. So go ahead also and share it out on your page and tag your friends and tag someone who you know you've had the discussion with about confidence. Because sometimes, we never want to, discuss that. But the thing is that we all at some point in our lives have an issue or concern and, are not an area where we're just not feeling as confident as we would normally feel. Or maybe just be in general where you're just a very shy person and not wanting to, go after the things that you're very good at deep down inside. So, when you come in the room, definitely go ahead and say hello to me so I know who's there. And as I said, go ahead and share. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is also do some housekeeping on my side where I get to share it on also the different platforms that I am on also. So let me just do that for a second while you do the same. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So how is everyone's Sunday been so far? Has it been good? I know in the wonderful New Jersey, it's been a lot of rain. Actually, it's been raining from yesterday. So we really haven't had much of a break since yesterday. So it's been a little bit, dreary day, I guess, if you want to, call it that. But please feel free to share. Okay, 2 seconds. I am just sharing it. Okay. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So again, the topic of this live today is going to be about the lack of confidence impacting you. So the question is, how willing are we to really dig deep to know whether or not it's impacting us? So just a little bit about me. My name is Judy Ann Chang, and I'm the owner and the founder of Coaching You Upward. I am a confidence and a leadership coach wherein my clients enjoy an increased level of confidence and a high level of visibility that allows them to take their ideas from concept to reality and enjoy more satisfying careers. So that's what happens with my clients, and that's what I do from a coaching perspective. Corporately, I have 20 plus years experience in the investment banking industry. I have worked the front office, middle office, the back office. Now I'm in more of an administrative roles where I work in risk management. So that's a little bit about me and my experience. And obviously, having worked on Wall Street for all these years, a girl had better had some confidence, because if she doesn't have any confidence, Lord have mercy, they will eat you alive. So that is a little bit there. So what I am going to do, what I wanted to do was to, just have this conversation in terms of confidence. And I also wanted to share with you some tips about, confidence and some of the things that you can also do. Hi, Infern. How are you? Long time. Hope you're staying out of trouble. So please feel free to go ahead and share. Thank you, Ephraim. Hopefully you're having better weather than we are. Here in Jersey, as I shared a few minutes ago, that is rather rainy and dreary here. So, but at the end of the day, I always say we got up in our right mind, so that makes it a good day. Alrighty, guys. So let me just dive right in. And again, those of you who are used to me, I like an interactive live. So feel free to ask any questions that you may have, and give me your input on any of the tips that I'm about to suggest, to see whether or not there are things that you either agree with, disagree with, and let's have a dialogue about it. So, as you know, I like to define things. No matter what it is. What is it that we call confidence? Now, look in the dictionary. It basically says that confidence is a feeling or a belief that you can rely on someone or something, or in this case, whether or not you can rely on yourself. Alrighty. I'll come back to that comment in a minute, Ephraim. So whether or not we can rely on, ourselves. Basically, when I think about confidence, it's a form of trust, right? It's a form of, can I really trust myself? Can I really believe in myself that I'm able to execute what is it that I want to execute? So basically, it comes down to trust. Or if you have some employees, do I trust them enough? They have the expertise, but do I really trust them to execute that big project or whatever deliverables there are in, for the department at that particular time? Within my business, in my home, do I trust my kids to do what they say they're supposed to do? If it's supposed to be their curfew, do I trust them? Do I have the confidence that they have the integrity to follow through? Or are they going to blow it off? So that's how I would like to define confidence. And Ephraim, yes, trouble, but trouble set in love, okay? Because I was messing with you on your page the other day, that's all. So you're a good guy. So anyway, that's my definition of when I think about confidence, and basically it's firm trust. Now, what are some of the things that, some of the other words you can replace the word confidence with? In some instances, I said trust already, so that's one. So let me ask you, for those of you who are there with me so far, let me ask you, what are some of the other words that you think of when I say confidence? If I was to replace that word, what would you tell me to replace it with? So I'm going to just, wait for a second. For those of you who are there, if you want to drop something in the comments, feel free. And Ephraim is 60 degrees. Oh, wow. I'm jealous. What state are you again? I forgot. I'm rather jealous. I think it's in, I don't know, about the high 30s, 40s here. But of course, with the rain, it doesn't make it feel that great. Okay, yeah. Okay, so again, the question that I asked was, what other word would you replace confidence with? I said trust before, but let me share others that I thought of too. I would think of self-assurance. I would also put it in the same category with some level of assertiveness. Because in order to be assertive, you got to have some self-assurance. You got to have some confidence. You got to have some trust that it will go hand in hand, right? Okay, yeah, all right. So you're agreeing assurance, right? All right. Can you think of any others? If you do, in the meantime, drop them in and we'll circle back to them. So yeah, so the reason why I did that is because in certain instances, people get a little bit, thrown off when we say confidence, right? But you know how the mind works. Sometimes if we replace it with something else that doesn't give us, any little bit of anxiety, a little bit more, sometimes it's more palatable for us and we feel a little bit more, comfortable. Okay. All right, Carl. So trust. Yes. So that's one of the ones that we had shared too. Definitely. Okay. Ephraim, South Carolina. Okay, good. I'm jealous. That's all I have to say. 60 degrees. I'm jealous. Right. So yeah. Alrighty, Carl and Ephraim, if you could please also go ahead and share, that would make it great. Thank you so much. So one of the things also that I've noticed, I don't have any, official data to back it up, but for some reason, sometimes when we think about confidence, I notice different cultural behaviors in, some people from another region, some others from other regions, they sometimes tend to be a little bit more timid, might I say, than others. Okay, Carl, so you're giving another word, capable. Yeah, and capable is, that action word that has a lot to do in terms of building your confidence, right? Because if you're not capable of something, you may not have the confidence of executing that. So yes, I am in totally agreement with you there. So far we had trust, we have assurance, we have self-assurance, we have assertiveness, we have being reliable, we have capable. Okay, so let's talk about being reliable, right? So if you're reliable, then yes, someone can have confidence in you that you are going to be where you said you were supposed to be. You are going to execute whatever it is that you said you were going to execute, right? So I think that's a good thing. All right. So yeah, so you guys, you're coming with the those words that are just great. Another one that I tend to think about a little bit too is courage, right? Because sometimes if you don't have the courage, you may not have that confidence also. So I'm going to share with you a quick story. So the story, the story that I'm about to share with you, it was my first business trip ever, flying in business class. So my first business trip was to the UK, right? So here it is. I'm working for an international investment bank. They sent me on a business trip. This is my first business trip. Of course, I had to go international, right? Because it wouldn't be Judy unless I was going out of the country. So that's my first trip. That was my first time also in business class. So, business class, you have the beds that go down, and their logistics in terms of how you use the different equipment are a bit different because you have different kind of, equipment there. It's just as simple as that. So I have no clue. I've never flown in business class before. So I'm going to touch everything until something works. So that's literally what I decided to do. So I'm touching. Oh, that opens that. Okay, that opens that. And that's what I'm doing in my head, right? So then this gentleman came up to me and he says very quietly, "Hey, can you tell me how this works?" I busted out laughing. I said, "Man, if you think I have a clue what I'm doing, I'm just touching everything until something works." So he looked at me all shocked. He says, "I would have never known because you look so self-assured. You look so confident, like you knew what you were doing and that you've flown business class all the time." So at that time, I laughed and I said, "Yeah, I'm just faking it till I feel it," right? So I guess I tell you that story to share with you is that sometimes even if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the experience because, you don't take yourself so seriously, you're just like, well, it got to be a first for everything, so I'll learn as I go along. So what I did was, instead of looking timid and, oh, woe is me, I've never flown business class, what do I think about people going to think about me? What I did instead was improvise. I touched everything until something worked, trying to remember what opens what, and then I did that. But I did it so effectively, right, that I guess that was my Oscar-winning performance. But anyway, I did it so effectively that this gentleman was convinced that I had always flown in business class. So that's just a quick story to tell you how sometimes just the way you present yourself and how you operate will either, confirm whether or not, you belong, or people think that you belong one way or the other. So to go back to the words, so I saw you guys had determination. Some of them went a little bit away from me, so I have to bring it up. Yeah, so I saw determination, I saw brash, I saw prudence. I like prudence especially because I'm a big proponent of, wisdom, right? Using common sense, that wisdom component of it, because that will never fail you in my opinion, right? Is you'll try to keep you a little bit ahead of the curve. The determination, yes, Carl, absolutely. And then now when it comes to the brash, so I'm going to put brash with a caveat in that, when we're being brash, we have to monitor our tone. We have to monitor how our brashness is being delivered, right? Because there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. And we don't want our brashness to teeter over into the arrogant part of life, because then it's a complete turn off. So no matter how much you know, no matter how intelligent you are, and it doesn't matter your expertise level, at that point people are going to be turned off. So I would give the brush, with an explanation sign, or what's the word I'm looking for, a star, right? So yeah. Okay. And then you also said knowledgeable, right? Exactly. So one of the things about building confidence is that if I'm knowledgeable, that would allow me to feel more comfortable. And if I feel more comfortable, it will aid my confidence. So you're absolutely right. So thank you, Colin. Thanks for joining my live. Happy to have you here. Please feel free to go ahead and share the live. Guys, you're also welcome if you're hearing things that you like or you agree with, or even if you disagree with, you're welcome to give me the loves. The only requirement I have for disagreement is that you have to say why, and then you have to explain why, you disagree, and give me, the follow-up. Okay, good. So as I already shared with you, my quick story on, basically me, faking it. And, this gentleman thinking that I was, a regular traveler, probably a frequent flyer in business class. And I really was flying it for the first time in my life. It was my first business trip that I've ever done. So yeah. Okay. So let's deliberate. Okay. So now, being deliberate. Yes. I do believe that being deliberate does aid confidence also, because it's all about being intentional. So what is it that we're going to do in saying, okay, I have a particular goal. Am I going to keep talking about it, or am I going to execute it, even though I may not have all the steps totally, flushed out? Everything is not clear. I may not even know completely what the next 10 steps are, but minimally I may know the next 2 or the next 3. So then if we become deliberate in our actions in starting, irregardless of where we are, probably things that would have held us back, whatever it is, our deliberate actions and movement will allow us. Sorry about that, guys. I had a WhatsApp call coming in, which I'm not sure why when I put my do not disturb on. That's interesting. It's never happened before. So that was my girlfriend in London. So hopefully if she can hear me, she will see that I'm alive and come and join me. Okay. So thanks for that, Colin Ephraim. Now, so let me go on in terms of, sharing some of the additional tips, even those words that you chose are definitely words that also is not only the reframing of what confidence and how confidence can be interpreted, but also the actions, because some of the words that you gave were action words that will also help to strengthen confidence, right? So let me just share with you some of the tips that I had. I think I had written down a total of probably 11. So the first one that I wrote was basic self-care. And it may sound like it's very basic, but it's really not, because what I'm sharing here is that we must make sure that we indulge yourself, take care of yourself. And when I say take care of yourself, I'm talking about emotionally, physically, behaviorally, spiritually. Make sure that we're basically paying attention to the holistic you. And the reason for that is that usually when one is off, it will impact the other in some way or some shape. And you may say, that's not true. I may not be feeling that well today, but my mind is completely okay. Well, you're okay, but not completely okay, because when you're ill, your mind is going to be, okay, I'm not 100% well. I really wish I was feeling better. So there's going to be a component of your brain that will be focusing on you getting better rather than focusing completely on what is it that you have in front of you. So the perfect example of that would be if you're driving a car, right? And you got a flat tire. So that particular car that you're driving, and that one flat tire got flat, believe it or not, unless you have a car that can drive on 3, wheels alone, then it will impact the quality of your drive. So you can still drive that car on the rim, ruin the rim, but you won't go as fast. 2, you will now be a detriment to the people around you. And 3, you will definitely not get to your destination in the same way that you would have gotten to your destination had it been that all 4 tires were operating at optimal level. So that's just an example to give you why is it that I stress that self-care is very, very important. And as I said, just to repeat, emotional self-care, physical, from a behavioral point of view or spiritual point of view, just make sure that all of those are intact and calibrated to make sure that we operate at the optimal and the best level possible. Okay. So I'm going to still keep it in the same vein. Oh, by the way, and some of the ways that you can take care of yourself, sometimes you just need downtime. You need to take a bath, a lavender bath, whatever it is that you need to just relax and be able to just rejuvenate yourself. So those are just some of the little things. Or do a hobby, do something that you like, and more importantly, seek the necessary care and attention that you need, whether it be family, whatever it is you need to have around you to also help that self-care in terms of, taking the stress level down. So another part of self-care would be to get adequate rest. So it is said that, most of us supposed to need, they say 7 to 9 hours per night. Let's face it, I think very few of us probably get that. But there are studies that indicate that irregular sleep patterns can impact our health, our mood, and also our cognitive behaviors, and it impacts our decision making and our problem solving ability. So I know I'm guilty of that, where, sometimes I stay up too late, doing all a million different things and not getting adequate sleep. And, it may not impact me the first night, but the second and the third of doing that too often, then yes, it becomes an issue. So that's one of the things that you can help to increase your confidence, because now you've had adequate sleep. So cognitively, you're now able to make better decisions, and you're now able to be more creative. You're more able to solve problems better because your brain is not in that foggy state, right? You're not going through that brain fog because you did not get enough sleep and you just need rest. Okay. So the last one in terms of the physical and the self-care is being mindful about your regular checkups. Make sure that you go out and you get the necessary checkups that you need, your annuals, whether it be male or female. Do those checks because they matter. Now, there's one particular check that a lot of people sometimes blow off. But if there comes a time that you need to also see a mental health therapist, go ahead and do so too, because as I said, being whole includes the emotional, the physical, the mental, all of that. So definitely, don't overlook any part. Now, to take it from the physical care, now taking it into our immediate physical environment. But before I go any further, I'm going to pause here for a minute. Do you guys have any questions about what I've just shared in terms of some of the tips that will help you with confidence relevant to self-care? If you have any comments about that, questions about that, feel free to drop it in the comment section. In the interest of not, extending the live too long, I will continue, but I will come back if I see that you have a question there or commentary. Okay. Alrighty. So let's move on from there to now, your physical space, your environment. So one of the things that you need to do, you need to be able to declutter your physical environment. You'll be surprised that when you declutter that, you just think clearer. I remember years ago, I think I was either a teenager or early 20s. I was speaking to one of my very close friends who live in Atlanta, Natalie, and we were just discussing as girls, just having our chit chatter. And, we were talking about room being messy. I was like, what, I really need to clean it up because I just can't think as clearly. Little did we know at the time that there is scientific proof to that it does say that when you are in a cluttered environment, you do not think as clearly because your mind is set up in such a way that it's always searching for information. It's also trying to figure out, what's going on here? Do I need to protect you? Is it a warning signal? Is it a red flag? So when all that junk is around you, and forgive me if I called your stuff junk and it's not junk, but the stuff is around you, right? What happens is that your brain is, what's that over there? So it's not 100% focused on what it is that is in front of you and what you need to work on. So that's one of the concepts behind why is it that decluttering your physical space is very important. So that's that with that one. And it comes back down to also, attempting to be as organized as possible. So again, you want to make sure that your brain is working at optimal capacity and focusing on what is it that you want it to be focused on. All right. So the next tip that I have to give you is to monitor your self-talk. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, sometimes we could be a very positive person, but there may be something that we don't like about ourselves or something that we're not very good at. So what we tend to do is that we focus on the things that we're not very good at. I remember I was reading about Steve Jobs, and I was also reading about Greenspan, Alan Greenspan. And they were interviewing both men at different times. And one of the things that I found was a commonality between both interviews were that they said that one of the reasons for their success is that they did not focus on the things that were not right. They spent more time focusing on the things that they were good at and the things that the company was good at. So that allowed them to even have greater success. And then it was Alan Greenspan who also said, what did he say? Hold on. He said that he spent, if he got 100 requests, he basically said no 99 times. I was like, wow, that was interesting. So he basically, and the reason why he gave that answer was because he said 99 of those things were not the things that he needed to function on. So he focused on the one thing that was more important. Okay, so guys, I'm getting a note that someone cannot get onto the live. Guys, I'm in the middle of the live. I'm not really sure what to do to help you. I've shared it to my personal page, which is Judy Ann Chang. So if you're on there with me, it's probably public, so you'll be able to see it there. And I've also, it's on my Coaching You Upward page, which is where I am right now. So you'll be able to get it there too. So that should allow you to be able to see it. Alrighty. So hopefully, let me just see if I can share it personally. Maybe that would help. I'm not sure. So I've just sent it to you personally. Hopefully that will help you in some way. Alrighty. And so the next tip, so we spoke about, monitoring your self-talk. So let's expand on that a little bit more. So what are some of the things that you're not good at? And think about it, Steve Jobs, we all know who Steve Jobs is. Well, most of us should know. I don't like using that definitive word all, but most of us will know who Steve Jobs is. And if you don't, Google him. He's passed away now, but obviously he's synonymous with the Apple products, and we all know how successful the Apple products have been. And also Alan Greenspan, if you don't know who he was, I think he was the chairman of the Federal Reserve for many years, or something like that when it comes to his title. The bottom line is these are two very successful men in their respective fields, and the thing that they said they did was to focus on what was going right and minimize their focus on the things that were going wrong. Okay, so monitor your brain and just make sure that you focus on the negative self-talk. Also, one of the other things that you can do is, rather than criticize yourself so much and rather than having so much self-criticism, what you can do is say, okay, there's a particular gap that I have here. So rather than criticizing myself that I'm not good at it, how then can I do something that will now narrow the grasp of something that I'm not good at? Is it that I need to buy a book that I can read on it? Is it that I need to go to the University of YouTube? Is it that I need to attend a class? Is it that I need a coach? Is it that I need a mentor, or somebody who I can probably sit down and go through those steps with? So again, that's a good way to replace the negative self-critique of yourself. So then that will also in return have positive benefits and help you to monitor the self-talk that you're telling yourself. Because remember, I said earlier, right? Your brain is listening to everything that you're putting out there, right? Your brain is saying, okay, and it's scanning, for information. Remember, your brain is the biggest computer there is, right? I know they always talk about robots, but trust me, I'm willing to say and go online, here in the airspace to say there will be no computer that is as good as our brain, right? Our brain is the biggest, the most sophisticated mechanism there is, and it's also always scanning for information, because it's always in a, whether I should fight or flight or, stabilize, whatever it is, or focus on what is it that you have in front of you. Okay, so the next tip that I had for you, which is the sixth one, it says, it was going back to my childhood where my mom said, show me your company and I tell you who you are. So that basically has been something that has guided my life. But little did I know when I was growing up that my mom was really telling me something that is really a huge thing that you'll hear, all the big motivational speakers, gurus, coaches, etc. will talk about. They said, be mindful of the company that you keep. Be mindful of your circle. You'll hear people say, if you want to be rich, you can't be hanging out with everybody who's never, known what it is to have money. People who have never known what it is to manage money, right? And I know that can be a sensitive topic, as so you can only keep friends with rich people. That's not the point. That's not what you should be focused on. The point that is saying to you is that you need to, if you want to get rich, if you want to effectively manage your money, let's use that as a better term, then you need to be around people who are also good at managing money and can share insights with you and let you know. Greenwood, are we allowed to ask questions? Absolutely. You can ask questions. You can share your ideas. This is an interactive dialogue. It's never just a monologue. I don't care for monologues. So thank you for asking, but sure you can. Alrighty. So at the point where I am at right now, let me just take a moment, because I'm seeing some new faces coming on. Some of you I do know, some I do not. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Judy Ann Chang, and I'm the owner and the founder of Coaching You Upward. I am a confidence and a leadership coach, wherein my clients enjoy an increased level of confidence and a high level of visibility that allows them to take their ideas from concept to reality and enjoy more satisfying careers. So that's just a little bit about me, and we are talking about confidence earlier up on the hour. We had defined what it was. We also asked what were some other words that we can use to replace the word confidence, but it has the same meaning. So we had different folks that were sharing, their ideas, and I share different stories. You're all welcome to also go back and listen to the replay. If you do that, one of the ways that you can help me to let me know who was live, who was doing the replay, is to put #replay. And feel free to drop in where you're from, all that wonderful stuff. Okay, great. So hopefully that helps for the guys who have just joined. And also the other housekeeping thing is, I've always requested if you can go ahead and share it on your page, that would allow it to help more people, and also for just sharing with your group and help me. Okay, thank you. Alrighty, so we were talking about the last tip we were talking about, not the last one, the sixth one rather, was I told you my mom says, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are. So I was sharing how the people who you have around you, and I'm talking about in your close circle. I'm not talking about the people that you may have to go to work with and things like that. I'm talking about the people who are in your core circle. Who are those people? How are those people helping to take your life forward? So the people you have in your close space can impact your trajectory of your life, of your career. So be mindful of the people who you have. Now, you can have somebody around you today and they are perfect for where you are now. However, coming to 2019, they may not be as perfect as they were before. Now, are you to feel bad about that? No. Life is dynamic. Life changes. So what will happen is that you may have outgrown that person and you may have outgrown that relationship. Now, does it mean that you just disband the person? Not necessarily. You can still, say hello, all those things. You just may not be as close. Also, there are instances where the person is not going in the same direction that you are going. I remember when I started coaching, one of the blessings that I have is that my girlfriend does happen to be doing coaching the same time I did, and we did not even discuss it. It just, I don't know, it was a fluke, to be honest. When we both came together and started talking about coaching, I was like, you're coaching? She's coaching? So it was great to have my very close friend, childhood friend from we were 9, to also come along on that same ride with me. So we were in different coaching schools, so we were able to discuss the different theories that we've learned to do with coaching, etc., etc. So that was one of the benefits. So question, would you agree that we have people for a season? Yes, there are instances that you do have people for a season. But the one thing I do caution is to then, when the season with that person is over, just be mindful, because we always wanted to do things in love. There are times when you can't do things in love, so you have to just, kind of cut it clean instantly. But yeah, there are seasons where, there are people who come into your life and they're now not optimal for the next season of your life, of where you want to go to, and also not optimal for your purpose anymore. So to answer that question, yes. All right. So hopefully that answers it clearly for you. All righty. So, just keep in mind again that at the end of the day, you want to soar. So you may have to get new friends, get new people around you. Okay. How do you determine that a person's season is over with you as a friend of influence? How do you determine that a person's season is over with you as a friend of influence? Well, it depends. Are they still influencing you anymore? If that person is not influencing you anymore in your life, or is not the type of influence that you care for, you will know. There's always that internal switch inside of us that will tell us whether or not that person in our lives, what they're bringing to the table anymore, whether it be their behavior, whether it be, their advice, the things that they want to do. Let's take, for example, when we were coming up, most of us at some point probably liked going partying, as a certain type way of life. The clubs, etc., etc. As you got older and some of you got married, kids, etc., if you had that friend who still wanted to go party every night at those clubs, no, that's going to be a no-no anymore for you, because then you'll start to have problems in your family, right? So that's a very clear-cut example of where you would have outgrown the person of what they would like to do. Now, it could be that you moved in your faith. It could be that now you have a new job that doesn't allow you, or you've opened a business. It doesn't allow you the same amount of free time that you had previously. So at that point, what you'll have to now do is to now modify the amount of access that person has to you. So again, you don't have to stop talking to the person, but there's going to be a change and a modification of the level of interaction that will happen. So hopefully that answers our question, Greenwood. All right. So the next tip that I would like to give is practice your position of power. By that I mean your stance, your posture, your composure. Have you ever noticed? Perfect example, right? So, well, you know what? Before I give you an example, hey, Allison, how are you? I've seen all the great things that you were doing on the weekend. Congratulations. Proud of you, lady. So happy you're able to join me. Please go ahead and share. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. So if you ever notice, right, leaders are leaders who have now understood leadership, because we're all born leaders, but not many of us, and not all of us, have been trained in terms of good leadership, right? So I'm talking about those that have been trained in terms of good leadership. So have you ever noticed that a real leader comes into the room, they don't have to make a ruckus to be seen. They're just them. They're just there. And they don't try to be seen because their confidence exudes. If they're in around a table of conversation, they don't have to try to monopolize the conversation. They don't have to try to take over anything. Instead, they will speak when they have something of real value to add, or they will compliment what somebody else at the other table has just said. And then in addition to that, they're more than willing, 9 out of 10 times, to give credit where credit is also due. So if you haven't observe that when you're around a leader that you truly admire and who you also believe is somebody who to be a good leader, right? So let me give you also the example why I talk about that whole, the power position. And this comes down to, your confidence, right? So whenever, think of your favorite teams, and for the men on here, I know you will definitely relate to this, and for the ladies, if there's any team that you cheer for, or whatever it is that you do that you cheer for, right? And you were up against the competition, and the team won, or the person won. What happens when that person wins? That person, the shoulder is square, the smile is from, can probably go to the back of the neck, right? And they take up more space in the room. The reason why they do that is because I've won. I'm confident. And my actions and my winning just basically, evidence that I'm all that in a bag of chips, right? So basically, that's what I mean by having that power stance, by having that confidence stance. So practice it, even if you haven't won anything, you could have lost. Still stand like you're, a leader. Think about a peacock. You ever notice how beautiful a peacock is? OMG. I remember I was in Argentina and I went to this rodeo farm, and there was a peacock. They just, walk around like, they all that. And then this one particular one opened up its wings. OMG, heart be still. It was one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen. But that peacock has so much, pride and so much confidence that it just strutted its stuff. It just knew it was beautiful. So it just opened its wings whenever it decided that it wanted to. Okay. All right. So Green would say, if one is married, is it wise to take advice or look up to someone of the opposite sex? Greenwood, I think we are going to defer answering that one because I'm more talking about confidence. I'm not really talking about relationship advice here. But I would be more than happy to have a live. I know people do come at me about questions, especially when I was involved with the Single Truth. So that was a lot more relationship-like questions. So we're gonna, I'll defer. I will answer, but I'll answer it offline and give you my opinion on that one. But we're gonna stick to the more confidence topic here now, right? So if you want to ask a question centered around confidence, sure, no problem. All right. Okay. So take it back to the power stance that I was just talking about before, right? So again, do that whole stance, your power position, you're forward thinking, you're very appreciative of what's happening and around you. You know your stuff, right? You can basically identify what's going on. And also a lot of the times, if you watch leaders in a room, they're usually not the last one that leaves, because they have things to do, right? So they know what they want. They have the agenda. They have the strategic plan, and they execute it. And then, they may do the networking here and there, or they may leave. I remember taking a speaking class with Cheryl Woods, and I remember her saying, usually she tries to give like 3 hours, an hour, before, an hour for her speech, if needed for an hour, and then an hour afterwards, because, time is money. and she basically has her strategic plans of what she wants to be on next. So that was another example of, that confidence power play, where she has things to do, so she's not going to hang around just for the sake of hanging around. All right, so that's that. Okay, you said from a business standpoint, not romance. Oh, okay. So coming back to your question, if one is married, is it wise to take advice or look up to someone of the opposite sex? Okay. So I'm still not seeing the correlation to confidence, and I want to stay on topic. So again, I will answer that offline, because I'm still not seeing the correlation to confidence, the confidence tips, and the impact of confidence if you have a lack of confidence, in terms of taking advice from being married and taking advice from the opposite sex. That is still more, kind of relational questions to me. All right. So I promise you, I will answer your question, but offline, not for this live. All right. Okay. All righty. So moving on from there, the eighth tip I have is to dress for the vision, right? So I want to be let's say for argument's sake, you want to be that international speaker. You want to speak on different stages. What is it that I'm going to do that would allow me to do that? I want to be, the next big Tony Robbins. I want to be the next Oprah, or I just want to be the next successful me, right? If I'm in a corporation and there's a particular job, say I'm a VP now and I want to get to a director or a managing director level, what is it that I'm going to do that would now allow me to have the confidence, right? And so that when those positions come up or the opportunity comes up, what is it that I am going to do that would allow me to then have the confidence to execute, present, and not only confidence for me, but confidence in the person who's watching me, that I may not be aware of that person is watching me, right? So if I'm already dressing the part, acting the part, taking steps to make sure I learn different things, increase my expertise, then I am positioning myself not only for me to have confidence, but for the person, the unknown person who is watching me, to have some level of confidence that it says, you know what? I think Allison can do it. I think Greenwood can do it. I think Ephraim can do it. I think Carlene can do it, right? Carl can do it. I think Judy Ann can do it. So the confidence in this case, when you dress for the future, you dress for your vision, is actually twofold. You're presenting with confidence, and they're getting the confidence that you're the right person for that opportunity, to put you in. Okay. So that's one, number 8. Number 9 is to educate yourself in the areas that you have identified as gaps. Now, no, not knowing something is bad enough, right? It's one thing that I know is a pet peeve of mine. Like, I want to know everything, right? In a position where I don't know something and it's causing some level of deficit, right? So I want to oh darn it, I wish I knew that, right? So that is bad enough. But when you have identified that there is an area of lack, of shortage, it's a gap, whatever terminology you want to use, the bottom line is that you are not optimal, you are not 100%, and you need to either educate yourself, all right? You need to either volunteer to get that experience. Say I'm doing this live. There was a time where I did not want to be on a live. Oh, heck to the no, right? I didn't want to be there, but it was, part of the things that we need to do. And as I went along doing it, this account got blown up, my Judy Ann Chang account, where it got lost with Facebook. But the thing that I miss about that is that I am not able to chart my progress of when I first went live. When I went live, guys, confession time, I looked like, all you had to do was put me in an orange jumper, right? I looked like escapee because I just so did not like being on the camera, right? And I wasn't really comfortable. Yes, I don't have a problem talking to the person next to me, but I was just not, so thrilled about coming on and, being on a live and anybody, and you open yourself out to the whole world of whoever is watching this live, because with lives, right? Anything that's public, it can be shared, viewed, and sometimes you never know who is watching you. Sometimes people come in my inbox, they may be watching here right live now, they say nothing. They're not comfortable speaking out in public, but they'll be in my inbox either commenting on something that I said, or asking me a question about something I said, or just simply complimenting me on, how the live went. But the bottom line is that I was not comfortable. So what I had to keep doing was to, seek out, okay, how do you do lives? I remember I went as far as to even help some other coaches when I partnered with Rashonda Pratt, the Rosho, because she is the CEO of, Lives, that she had a book on that also. So I did a live and a collaboration with her that basically also shared some nuggets on how to go live and how to get comfortable and some of the things that you can do and some of the things that were no-nos. Like, for instance, I was given advice by someone who went live every day. Oh, always, wait for people to build your audience before you start. Yes, so when I spoke to Rosho, she says the total opposite. She actually says that it was a faux pas, because what happens is that, the people who are on early feels like they're chopped liver, basically meaning they feel like they're not worthy because they came on time, but you're waiting for the others to join. So they're like, well, what about me? What about my time? So it's funny how one advice that you get from somebody who does it every day versus somebody who's more expert on it can obviously make your life a bit better, because now you have the requisite knowledge. So to come back to what I'm saying about educating yourself, go ahead and identify that area, identify that deficit wherein you need to become more optimal. So you need to be more educated, you need more experience. So do what you need to do to close that gap. All right. So that's one of the ways that you also build confidence. Now, this one is, about smile and our facial positions. So I remember taking a class a while back, and they talk about your facial expression. What is it that your facial expression is communicating? And are you communicating somebody of confidence? And by somebody watching your facial expression, are they also, getting that social cue to, oh, I think that's a person who, I should listen to? Or are they thinking, if they're speaking to you, by your facial expression and your social cues that you're probably unconscious about, are you giving a positive and a confident social cue with your face, right? Now, smiling is probably underestimated, and we just think it casually, and it's only when we're having a good old time. But if you're in a room and you smile, there could be somebody way across the other part of the room, but that smile, they will pick it up and they can discern it, right? And it's more welcoming. So the other part of it, which most of us don't talk about, we tend to talk about the smile. The other part is your resting face. Now you may say, resting face, what is that? Now, so to know why I just busted out laughing is that Allison just said the resting bee face is so easy to slip into. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that one took me off guard. So that's why I'm laughing so much. But it's so true, right? It's so, that resting face, boy. And I know I've been in the gym before, and I remember this gentleman comes up to me and he says, "You look so upset." I'm looking at him like, huh? Upset? Why would I be upset? I'm working out. That's usually, apart from church, my gym, I consider it my second sanctuary, right? if I'm really upset about something, that's where I go, because then that way the endorphins and everything, works for me. And when I leave the gym, I'm good, right? It could be because, instead of, taking a weight and throwing it, maybe I can use it more constructively, right? So maybe that's probably one of the reasons too. But to get us back on track about our resting face. Okay, so one of the things that I learned is that it talks about the muscles right here, right? So with your resting face, so you don't end up with your face like that, right? Hold on, let me just pause and see the comment here. She says, I was just on stage with a coach, David Nagel, as one of his successful clients. The key instruction we had was no RBF smile or a semi-smile at all times. And David Nagel is 100% correct, right? So, basically RBF, for those of you if you're wondering, rest in B face, right? So, yeah. And one of the things that, for those of you who don't know is that, so right around here, right? So most of the time when we rest, especially if you're getting older, right? Your muscles right here tends to come down, right? So it gives you that sad face and that, B face, the more than that more welcoming, warm face, right? To make people want to come and talk to you, for it to be more inviting, right? So, and a lot of us, me included, we're so not conscious of it. That's why it's called a resting face. But if we try to be conscious and work on the muscles right here, so instead of it like, right? But if we go slightly having the lips turn up a little bit, and it's something that we have to practice, because it does make a difference in how people will want to gravitate towards you, to be inviting towards you, right? And, I always joke, from when I was much younger and I became conscious of Julia Roberts. So, I was like, yeah, well, I have my Julia Roberts smile, but by the same token, yeah, I can get that other face, right? Which is not very pleasant. So I say that to say, just be conscious of the social cues that we're sending. Okay, so Dr. Cook says, no one is attracted to a mean, mugging face. You got that right? So, because let's face it, right? But you know what, Carla? There are times where we're not even want to be, don't even know that we're looking mean. Remember the example that I told you? This gentleman told me in the gym, he's like, you look so mean and upset. I'm like, huh? It was news to me, because I was just minding my own business, working out, right? But, I guess, I don't know, maybe I've been thinking something not so pleasant. I have no idea. But that was his perception. And, sadly, as they say, I don't live my life by people's perception, but, you don't want to miss opportunities just because you become unapproachable, or just because, somebody misread your social cues. So, yeah. Alrighty. So, by the way, Carla, thank you so much for joining me, and go ahead and share. I'm coming towards the end, but no problem. You can still share it, and your network can, still watch it from the top during the replay. So no problems. Okay. So the last one that I have is basically take time to determine the steps that you want to achieve your goals. I want to read a quote. I hope I wrote it. Yes, I did actually. So I firmly believe that we are enough. And that's one of the mindsets that if you know that you are enough, it does wonders for your confidence, right? Thank you. I love that, Carla. She says she's way ahead of me in sharing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, right? So going back to the tip here where it says about being enough. I genuinely believe if you believe that you are enough, you will be able to do things that you thought you probably would not be able to do. You'll even surprise your own self. There's a quote that was said by Henry Ford that I love, and I read it to you. It says, believe you can or believe you can't. Either way, you're right. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I would rather to take the former where he says, believe you can, right? And the minute you put that, out there, you monitor your self-talk, you understand that everything that you need is inside of you, right? And you can go after it. And now people say, well, what if I don't know everything? Well, we all won't know everything, but what I mean by everything being inside of you, it also means the wisdom to go out to get that training, go out to get that coach, go out to get that mentor, that friend who's more experienced than you, that colleague, work colleague that's more experienced than you, that business coach to help you launch your business, right? I think I saw Allison, who's an attorney, and she also has a mentoring program where it's the Law Mentor program, and she basically put out an ad for, I think it was a sales marketing person, and it was a very detailed ad in terms of what she needs. So while Allison knows that her program can be exclusive and very successful, she also knows that she is one person, and there are other things that are being stretched within her practice. So what she does, she goes outside to hire the requisite experience to help her business to grow. So Allison knows that she's enough, and she knows that she has the wisdom to go outside of her to hire who she needs to hire, or to take that course. In some of us, we want to learn about different things. When I wanted to know a little bit more about speaking, I went and I took a speaking course. When I wanted to know a little bit more about lives, I collaborated with Rashonda Pratt, and I bought her book. I'm a big proponent of the University of YouTube, because everything is on YouTube, right? Now, it won't be comprehensive enough or in-depth enough in some cases to give you everything, but it will be a starter. Hey, Patience, thank you so much for joining me. I think this is the first time I've seen you in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you said, I believe I can. And she is one of the most positive people that I have on my timeline. So I love seeing her on my timeline because she's very positive, because of course we all know we love positive people and things and everything positive. Okay, so I'm getting ready to wrap up. But again, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Judy Ann Chang, and I am the owner and the founder of Coaching You Upward. I am your confidence and your leadership coach. As a result of my coaching, my clients enjoy an increased level of confidence and a high level of visibility that allows them to take their ideas from concept to reality and enjoy more satisfying careers. Now, I thought it was great to come along here and, define what confidence was, to also utilize some replacement words for confidence that sometimes, with the reframing of the brain, how we think about it. We also spoke about some of the different actions that can either build or strengthen our confidence. And then I also went ahead and I shared with you some of the different tips in terms of the things that you can do to help you to strengthen your confidence. So for those of you who hadn't heard, feel free to go back and listen to the replay. Then the other thing that I wanted to share with you is that along with building confidence, is that one of the reasons that I came about in building my program is that within some of the clients that I was coaching, some of my colleagues, friends, I recognized that there was basically a gap. There was a deficit. There was a problem. And because I were talking to people who were brilliant. And yes, so they were uncomfortable in doing some of the things that they were more than equipped to do. So I recognized that there was a confidence problem. So I decided to develop a solution for that problem. And that solution is basically the Confidence Pod. Now, the Confidence Pod is basically a 4-week program that dares you to be the optimal you. It covers, it's a 4-week program. It's online. And I've also, I'll come back to that basically, but the first week deals with the impact of confidence and self-esteem. The second week deals with identifying your challenges, understanding that challenges are not necessarily inherently negative. Week 3 deals with reshaping your thinking and ultimately your approach. And week 4 deals with the strategic planning and identifying resources, as well as developing actions that you can take forward with you, so that becomes a lifestyle in terms of reframing your thinking, working on NLP exercises. So then you'll be able to feel more comfortable in, after you're taking the program, in executing what it is that you want to execute, strengthening your confidence, stop missing out on promotions, missing out on your joy, missing out on your purpose. You don't want to be in that position anymore where basically you're not able to take advantage of the things that you are destined to do. So let me just share one other thing with you. So before I go, are there any additional questions that anybody has that they'd like to ask before we come to the close? Alrighty, so I'm going to kick it that there are no questions. So then one of the other things, to summarize what the Confidence Pod can help you to do. It will help you to uncover the causes of not being able to achieve what you desire for yourself. It will empower you to recalibrate and control the emotion and the negative cognitive brain talk, bringing you into harmony to work for you and not against you. It will challenge you to develop personalized you-centric strategies to get moving at your pace towards your purposeful destiny. And it will dare you to appreciate you as you blossom and progress into the person that you are created to be. So if anyone is interested in the Confidence Pod, you can go directly to bit.ly/TCOPOD. I think I have it tagged there into the title. Also, if you would like to set up a 30-minute strategic call with me, you are welcome to also do that. I will drop my link in there, but it's on my website, which is coachingyouupward.com. Again, so that's coachingyouupward.com. And if you'd like to go directly to the program, you can get the program at bit.ly/TCOPOD. Now, one last thing. There was a couple of people who had said to me, well, we weren't sure if we wanted to commit the full 4 weeks. So another way that I'm also working with you is to facilitate it in 2 weeks increment, right? So what is going to happen if you choose to do a 2-week program? That is perfectly fine too, all right? But obviously one is going to be at a 101 level and the other one going to be at, the 202, right? Or the 102. So that's one of the ways that I'm also working with you. So Carla, thank you so much for dropping that in there. And thank you. You said the program sounds great. I assure you, it is a great program. I have definitely taken the time to develop it and working with people also who are expertise in the field. So I assure you will not be disappointed in taking the program, and I assure you you will be happy that you've done so, and you'll be able to go out and conquer the world. So guys, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I will give you back the rest of your Sunday afternoon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, as always, have a great rest of the evening. Again, my name is Judy Ann Chang, your confidence and your leadership coach. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening. Take care.